Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Zoom chat tonight entitled Apples, Oranges, and Emotions. What a fun title. We're going to have fun tonight, and we're going to learn, and we're going to grow, and we're going to specifically learn about what nutrition has to do with our emotions. And we're very excited about that. So if you're in a quiet place, great. If you feel like there's some noise, you can mute yourself out at the bottom left. If you hover over that menu down there, there's a button. You can mute yourself out. We are recording. We are going through a beautiful PowerPoint presentation. And at the end, we just want you to know that there's going to be a time for Q&A. But in the meantime, if you're not familiar with Zoom, there is a chat function at the bottom. And if you have questions and you just want to go ahead and pop them in there, then either Uma or I can answer those questions at the end of our presentation. So that'll be very exciting. And then also at the top, you can manage what kind of view you have on there if you want. I don't know how that works with recording. Mostly you're going to be seeing the PowerPoint presentation, but you can play around with that if you want to. And oh my gosh, we're just so excited. So I'm excited to welcome Uma tonight, who's got such a beautiful thing to share with us. So I'm going to share my screen right now, so that you'll all be able to see this beautiful PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to hand it off to my very dear friend, Uma.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. That was such a beautiful welcome, and welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope more and more people will join in as we get started on this presentation. So, what do apples and oranges have to do with emotions? I bet you're all wondering, because we rarely find them in the same sentence. But I just love that visual in the middle of the slide, because it speaks to what we're going to be talking about later in the presentation. So apples, oranges, and emotions. Let's get started by finding out what fruits and vegetables have to do with how we feel. But before we dive into that, I'd like to spend a little bit of time speaking about what I do and who I am, for those of you who don't know me. I was born and raised in India, where I lived until the spring of 2008, which is when my husband, my daughter, who was 15, and I moved to the United States. About 10 days after our apartment in Chicago, my mother in India was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She was only 68 years old, and we just didn't see this happening. It came at us like with the fury of a hailstorm. Unfortunately, she passed away 8 months later. So January of 2009 is when we lost her. And that set me on a completely new path. I was plunged into the world of grief because I was new in America, had no friends, didn't know how to drive, and felt completely isolated and alone. On top of everything, I was grieving really hard. I didn't have my friends and my extended family near me for support. It would have helped, but that wasn't to be. And this is the time when I really dove into those big life questions. Who am I? Why am I here? And what's the purpose of this life? And the deeper I dove into those questions, the more I started to search and seek and learn and work with mentors. And this really defined my next chapter, my transformative journey, as I call it. I started to work with spiritual teachers and mentors, and also trained to become a hospice volunteer. I served as a hospice volunteer for about 5 years, sitting by the bedsides of many dying people and working with bereaved family members as well. And this is what led to my authoring 2 books. The book that you see on the top right of the screen, Understanding Death, 10 Ways to Inner Peace for the Grieving, was the very first book I wrote. It's available on Amazon, and this book was a way for me to understand what really happened to my mother, where she was after she left this life, why I was grieving so hard, all those questions that I had. The second book is called Losing Amma, Finding Home, a memoir about love, loss, and life's detours. And this is the story of my mother's loss and how it transformed my life. It shifted everything around for me. This is set partially in India and partially in the United States. So it's a very interesting cross-cultural story. That led me to work with women who are grieving a life transition. That really became my soul calling. And that's what I do today. It's one of the many hats I wear. I'm also the co-founder of the International Grief Council, which was founded by me and 2 other women. And we travel and teach. We are going to be in New Mexico in October this year, doing a day-long retreat with grieving people and also speaking at a Unitarian Universalist church in Santa Fe. I also work with seniors where I facilitate a group called My Life Story. This is a weekly group where we meet, we sit around a table and we share stories from our life. So that's a brief bit about me. So if you're wondering about the connection between emotions and food, this slide will help you get clear. Because we all lose people we love, right? We've all had the experience of losing a loved one and all the feelings that come up, the depression, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the exhaustion, all of that. However, most of these feelings are also common to us on a daily basis. I mean, who doesn't get angry when a coworker isn't being kind? Who doesn't feel exhausted at the end of a really long to-do list? Who doesn't feel a sense of overwhelm at the end of the day when you feel you haven't really been able to attend to all the tasks that you wanted to finish? And every day as we go through life, we go through losses, big and small. A small loss can be something like, a colleague saying something unpleasant at your job, or someone else being promoted over you. It could be an indifferent checkout clerk. There are all kinds of reasons why we feel angry, we feel frustrated, and we feel anxious. So loss isn't something that happens only when we grieve someone we love, right? But when we are grieving, we don't turn to what's in the middle of that slide. We don't go to fruits and vegetables. What we go to is burgers, ice creams, and French fries. And when we are grieving is when we have no energy to take care of ourselves. We are flooded with emotions and we suffer a nutrition deficit because we have no energy and no focus, no time, no energy to make meals that are healthy for us. So we easily turn to fast food and we flood our body with everything that's not good for us. I want to say here that we're not judging anybody because we all go through cycles when we're not eating right. I mean, I'll be honest and confess that I ate a piece of chocolate after lunch today. So this is not about how perfect we are being in what we eat. It's about achieving a balance because everything in life is about a balance. And that's what I'm talking about. So here are some interesting facts about emotions. Emotions, negative and positive, are contagious. Think about a day when you woke up feeling really grumpy. Maybe you got out of the wrong side of the bed. And then later in the day, you decided to have coffee with a friend. When you met this friend, she was in a happy, bubbly mood. And then the waitress who came along to serve you was this really bouncy person who was happy to serve you, who had a very cheerful and positive attitude. And I'm sure in about 10 minutes into the interaction, you began to feel different about yourself. You began to feel more positive. On the contrary, when you're at the grocery store and you encounter a very grouchy checkout clerk, no matter how positive you're feeling, that negativity does rub off on you. So that tells us that emotions are contagious. Smile for 30 seconds and you'll feel instantly happier. This is why we talk about the mind-body connection. We can trick the mind into feeling something by just inviting those feelings and sensations into our body. Colors are also closely associated with emotions. India, where I come from, is a very colorful country, and I love colors. I wear rich colors all the time. I'm very fond of bright oranges and turquoise and tangerines. And when we wear these colors, we feel happy. In fact, try this. If you're feeling down on a particular day, choose a really bright color to wear, and it will lift your mood. Emotions also activate the autonomous nervous system, and this is the system that controls bodily functions like digestion, blood flow, and breathing. So these are all very, very interesting facts about emotions. You must have all heard of this whole idea of emotional quotient versus intelligence quotient, and maybe some of you are familiar with Daniel Goleman's book called Emotional Intelligence, where he speaks about concepts like empathy, social connection, the ability to build rapport, integrity, and openness to change. And he speaks about emotional intelligence being very, very important if you're a leader, because leaders who embody these qualities have way more success than those who don't. So EQ is perhaps more important than IQ. And finally, very few people can hide their emotions, only 1% of the population. I know I am not good at hiding my emotions. I usually wear my heart on my sleeve, and people who know me well, sometimes even people who don't know me that well, can tell what I'm feeling. So we live in very, very stressful times, right? There are real and perceived dangers in our world. We turn on the news and you hear about shootings and war and terrorism. That's our reality. And when we listen to this kind of news, we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. We either want to fight what's happening, or we want to flee from it, or we freeze. We don't know what to do. Now, it's interesting that the human brain is hardwired for negativity. That's why we have to work harder at staying positive, right? And all of this creates tremendous amounts of stress in our lives. 75% of doctor visits are stress related. I mean, that's an astounding statistic. Now, think about it for a moment. Think about a day when you received a compliment first thing in the morning, and maybe a couple of hours later, your boss said something which made you feel less than or inadequate. What do you end up remembering and carrying with you the rest of the day? It is the insult, not the compliment, correct? That shows us that we are hardwired to embrace negativity more easily than positivity. So the body manifests stress symptoms, but most doctors just treat these symptoms. They put you in a box and say you have chronic fatigue syndrome or Crohn's disease or autoimmune disease, whatever that is. You become a label. Rarely do doctors get to the bottom of what's really going on. And the next slide will show us that only 3% of those cases are discussed as stress related. Now, how many doctors get to the root of the symptom? How many of them ask you, do you spend time having fun? Do you practice intentional breathing? How do you unplug from all your devices and from the demands of your life? Who are you struggling to forgive? Because these are the reasons why we end up having stress. And if we get to the root of the problem, we can take care of most of it. But unfortunately, we live in a system that treats the symptoms and rarely gets to the root cause. Here's another shocker statistic. The US consumes as much as 75% to 85% of the world's pharmaceuticals. And yet, we are not among the top 10 healthy nations in the world. Isn't that amazing? We are really missing something here. We have the treatments, we have the medications, we are a culture that swallows pills because we want to kill the pain, we want to numb the pain, we don't want to feel it. But what are we treating at the end of the day? We have the treatment, but what are we treating? That's an interesting question to ponder. Emotions are really messengers. From all that I've learned and the work I do, I've come to realize how important emotions are. So when the FedEx man knocks on your door, you open the door, you smile at him, you accept his package, you listen to what he has to say. However, we don't do that when emotions knock on our door, because we haven't had good role models who demonstrate how to feel and express anger, how to allow ourselves to grieve, how to express disappointment. So without good role models, we don't know how to do this stuff. But emotions just want our attention. If we don't listen to our emotions, we won't understand the message. But when we understand, when we listen, we understand, and then we learn how to embrace our emotions and release them in safe ways. That's really important when you are processing any kind of emotion, especially with my grieving clients. This is a process I take them through where sometimes I'm the only person in their life who gives them the license, the permission to feel what they're feeling. Now, out of all the emotions that we experience and that cause emotional overload in us, I've chosen to highlight anxiety because we have a sense of ease in talking about it. We don't talk about grief as easily. It's hard for most of us to say, I'm experiencing grief or I'm feeling sad, as opposed to I'm having some anxiety around this situation. I'm sure if you looked within yourself, that would be your reality too. Now, when we are anxious, we are in the mode of, I have to figure it all out and I have to do so right now. That kind of pressure sucks our energy. It makes us irritable. It causes us to be afraid. And we have this fog that envelops our mind. Those are the symptoms of anxiety, this constant state of being in fight or flight mode. We either have to control something or because we can't control it, we have to run away. And what we do is we calm our anxiety or fear or grief with food. We turn to that burger or chocolate cake and say, help me feel better. We numb the feelings that produce anxiety within us because those feelings don't feel good. So when we eat that burger or that piece of chocolate cake, there is a sudden serotonin rush within us, and that calms us down. But this isn't a permanent solution. This is just a temporary solution until the next triggering event or person comes along, and then we are anxious again. And then we turn to the next thing that will help us, which is probably a pint of Ben & Jerry's or a soda or whatever it is that we use to calm our feelings down. However, we never look for a permanent cure. And that is not a very good thing. So, with emotional eating, a very interesting truth is that our life stories and cravings are intertwined. So if you ate mac and cheese as a child and loved it, you'll crave it as an adult. If your mom made banana cream pie to comfort you as a child when you were going through something difficult, you will crave banana cream pie when your boyfriend dumps you or you're fired from your job. Isn't that an interesting truth? It's true that memory areas in the brain light up. This was tested in cravers, and their memory areas lit up when they had the comfort foods that they were used to in childhood. I thought that was a really interesting piece of research to share with you. So when it comes to emotional eating, we say we have to work on our willpower. And when willpower doesn't work, we beat ourselves up because we fail. And then we feel bad about ourselves. We feel bad about ourselves. We go looking for the next thing to eat that'll comfort us. This is a roller coaster that we constantly on. We are not able to get off. We need to understand that cravings are both mental and physical.
Sounds like we're getting some background noise. Somebody need to mute out, maybe Janie? Thank you.
Okay, so I was saying that we need to understand that cravings are both mental and physical. The foods we eat change our brain chemistry, and foods like carbs and sugars are very addictive. So there is a physical component to this. It's not just mental. So if we just rely on willpower to change our emotional eating, we are going to fail at it. It's like alcoholics. They don't just work on willpower alone. They need to go and detox their bodies, because changes happen in their bodies and their liver and various other organs because of the addictive power of their drinking. It's the same with food. Food is as addictive as nicotine or alcohol. Let's talk about our immunity for a moment. 60% of our immune system is located in our gut. I had no idea about this. There are good and bad bacteria in our gut, and what we put into our bodies determines who lives in our gut, who takes up rental space over there. So if 60% of your immune system is located in your gut and you're eating processed foods laden with chemicals, then there's little wonder why you feel crummy most of the time, right? Because that's a huge percent of the good bacteria that are located in our gut, which help us. But if you're not feeding yourself the right foods, then you don't have a chance to grow that bacteria, which can then help your digestive process. Another stunning statistic is that 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. That is why our stomach is called our second brain. We have these little microbes or good bacteria in the gut that help produce serotonin. But we know serotonin as a brain neurotransmitter. But it's true that 90% of it is made in our digestive tract. In fact, people who have altered levels of it are diagnosed with IBS, osteoporosis, and sometimes even cardiovascular disease. And that's how important serotonin is to our gut health. So we know that anxiety sufferers get up to 75% of their calories from refined carbs and sugars. These are empty calories that are creating a nutrition deficit in your body and really cause your gut health to suffer. So you're high on sugar all the time because you're constantly eating one thing after another that keeps those sugar levels at a high, but there is no nutrition. Your body is actually starving because there is no nutrition that is being pumped into your body from these empty calories. This is a really exciting discovery. A plant-based diet actually changes our taste buds' memory, causing us to crave real food. Isn't it amazing that our taste buds' memory can be changed? We can actually reset our palates. That's exciting. And I had a real experience of it this weekend. My family and I were in Madison visiting some friends over Labor Day weekend. And the friends that we were visiting with, she had made a bake for dinner, loaded with cheese and pasta. So I ate that bake and I went to bed feeling kind of heavy and not good. And the next day, everyone wanted to go get pizza. Well, I wasn't going to be the spoiled sport, and you can't really be the spoiled sport on these occasions when everybody's getting together and everybody wants to go eat pizza. And I wasn't going to say, you know what, I think I want to eat a salad. But that's what I did because my taste buds were craving real food. And so I said, I'll have a couple of pieces of pizza, but I want a Greek salad to start my lunch. And oh boy, did I dive into that salad and really enjoy it. So the good thing is that we don't have to choose between delicious and healthy anymore. You don't have to say, oh, I have to eat all those boring plant foods and just stare happily and longingly at pizza. No, you can actually live on plants and be happy, happy, happy. I've always been a vegetarian, so I've never missed meat. But what happens is that people with high blood levels of healthy plant compounds tend to be more optimistic about the future. I mean, that's such an interesting piece of information to know. Because think about it, when you get on plants, you lose weight right away. What better way to feel happier than that? You begin to see the pounds dropping and you get into your skinny jeans and those clothes that were hiding in your closet come out and make you look fabulous. That's happiness right away. And there are many other reasons, because it reduces your risk of diabetes. It leads to lower cholesterol because plants have no cholesterol at all. It keeps your heart healthy, you sleep better, you digest your food better, and when you have good gut health, you have to smile. So, a study was conducted in 2009 where over 100,000 women in America were researched or tested, and researchers found that people who were more optimistic had up to a 13% increase in carotenoid concentrations in their blood. Now, you get carotenoids from things like oranges and spinach and collards. So when optimistic people eat more fruits and vegetables, it actually shows up in all areas of their life. And who doesn't want to be happy? We all want to be more happy. When we eat more fruits and vegetables, our chemistry, our brain chemistry is altered again. And what happens is that soda and white rice actually cause sugar spikes, which create mood changes. And high blood levels of antioxidants is what we get when we are eating fruits and vegetables, which means we live longer, we are healthier, and we have fewer cancer and heart disease related deaths. Another study conducted at the University of Warwick on 80,000 people in Britain says that mental well-being rises with the number of daily portions of fruits and vegetables. Apparently, well-being peaked at 7 portions of fruits and vegetables a day. Sadly, only 1/10 of Britain's population got this magic number. So those who have a healthy habit in any one area of their life, so it could be just eating portions of fruits and vegetables, you will find that those healthy habits then move into other areas of your life as well. As you're feeling happier, as you're feeling healthier, you will improve your relationships, you will approach your work with a different attitude, you'll just be a happy person. So I totally get this correlation between mental well-being and the number of daily portions of fruits and vegetables. Now, we do want to lead this presentation towards helping you answer the question, well, how am I going to get all these servings of fruits and vegetables into my daily diet? Am I going to be chopping and dicing and slicing all day? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not, because look at these images on your screen. That's Melanie before and after, and this before and after happened because of all the fruits and vegetables that she started to get into her body through an amazing product called Juice Plus. And I'll have Melanie tell you her story about her amazing transformation.
Thank you, Uma. That was amazing. I just loved it. Well, my name is Melanie Hurley, and I'm a senior sales coordinator with the Juice Plus company, whose mission is inspiring healthy living around the world. I've been married to my husband, Mike, for 34 years, almost, and we have 3 children, ages 30, 27, and 16. I heard about Juice Plus almost 11 years ago, and at the time I wasn't living a very healthy life. I wouldn't have said that I was sick, but I also wasn't living a really vibrant life. I had had a baby in my 40s, much to my surprise, and I was waking up every day feeling really tired and lethargic and needing a nap every afternoon. I was constantly craving carbs and sugars, as Uma has described. And also I was battling in the winter colds and flus and upper respiratory infections, and found myself developing more and more aches and pains as time went along. Also, for the previous 3 decades or so, I had moved in and out of obesity and tried every diet known to mankind. But here I was when my baby was about 6 years old, feeling really unattractive and unappealing and way less than excited about my life. I felt really lazy and undisciplined, although I was working hard at trying to lose weight. And I was confused about what was happening. Honestly, I didn't exactly know how I had gotten to that place that I was in, and I sure did not know how to find my way out. So I was on a search and didn't know what to do. So all I knew was that there had to be a better way than being a slave to that number on the scale and constantly looking for that number to go down, which it never did for long. So I finally figured out that's not it. So my aunt saw me on a search, and she told me about Juice Plus, and I'm so grateful. It made sense to me because it's just the fruits and vegetables that God made. And I knew, honestly, that I wasn't eating as many fruits and vegetables as I should, even though I tried. And at the same time, I was watching my parents begin to deteriorate from that degenerative disease process. And I looked at that and I thought, I want more. I want more for myself. I want more for my family. And down the road, I want more for my grandchildren as well. So here I was at a crossroads, and I decided to choose the path that my crazy healthy aunt was on. It looked way more appealing than that degenerative disease path. So I chose to have what my aunt was having, and she was having Juice Plus. So since I started taking Juice Plus almost 11 years ago, I am living so much more of a healthier and more vibrant life. And I'm actually excited about my life again, which is pretty fantastic. So imagine this with me. Imagine a life with health and boundless energy. Imagine a life with less colds and flus. Imagine a life with no need for an afternoon nap, just plenty of energy to go do whatever you want to do. And imagine a life that has turned from craving chocolate to craving plants. How about that? And how about a life where no more cold sores when that stressful season occurs, whatever that is, and a life with aches and pains gone? Doesn't that sound good? Because that's the life that I have now. And the benefits are so much more than I ever could have imagined. So kind of tongue-in-cheek, I call the journey that I've gone on from frumpy to fabulous, because that's how I felt inside. I felt frumpy, and now I feel fabulous. So I started out a tired homeschool mom, and now I'm a vibrant mom, loving life, running 5Ks with my 16-year-old son, and I feel better than I feel better than I did when my son was born 16 years ago, which is pretty amazing. So now I get to inspire others to live a healthy life, and sometimes even to have healthier finances. And why? Because I became a part of this amazing Juice Plus company and this amazing Juice Plus community. It's changed my life. So now I get the opportunity to say yes to my son when he wants to buy a pool pass. And I get to say yes to my son when he wants to take major league pitching lessons from a major league coach. Holy cow, how cool is that? I get to say yes when my family wants to go to the beach in Santa Barbara, and yes when they go to Nashville. So now my life is so full of possibilities. So I went from not being able to sleep because I had chronic insomnia all the time. Now I can't sleep because I'm so excited about my life and for dreaming about the future and the possibilities. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter is going to bring. So what wakes me up in the morning and gets me out of bed totally excited is wanting everyone to feel as good as I feel, and wanting everyone to be vibrant and alive and to have the good health that they need to do whatever they feel God has designed them to do. And I want everyone to have the choices that I have. So I used to think that that degenerative path was inevitable, like that's just the way that it was in our country. And now I know better. I know that's not true. I have found the life that I was designed to live, and I just want that for everybody. So, okay, we're going to talk more about nutrition. The USDA recommendation is that you fill half of your plate with fruits and vegetables at every meal. Those are important words, right? Every meal. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're supposed to fill half of our plate up with fruits and veggies before we put anything else on there. And this is what leads to vibrant health. And that's 3 meals a day, 365 days a year. Well, maybe not all of them, but it's what you do most of the time that's going to make the impact on your health, of course. And they're now telling us that we need to eat 9 to 13 servings of raw, fresh fruits and vegetables every day to have this vibrant health. But who does that, for Pete's sakes? Do you know anybody who does that? I don't know a whole lot of people who do that, and I try. So when we're on the run as, busy mamas, busy professionals, or perhaps when we're going through a trauma and we just don't feel up to it, then for whatever reason, we don't do it and we don't get those fruits and vegetables. And that's when aging and disease occurs. When you don't have those fabulous antioxidants flowing through your veins, then that's when aging and disease are going to happen. And you know what? We're women. I think we're all women on here. We don't want that. We don't want aging at all. Okay, did you know that today's watermelon contains 38% less vitamin A than the same watermelon in 1950? And our broccoli only contains 48 milligrams of calcium as compared to 130 milligrams in 1950. And here's an interesting fact. You would need to eat 23 cups of broccoli to get the amount of calcium that you need in your diet every day. 23. Did you get that? That's just crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is like my favorite picture ever. I love this picture, apple versus multivitamin. So here we have the picture of our apple, and there are actually over 10,000 different ingredients that scientists have discovered in an apple so far. I just think that's so crazy. But what we know about those 10,000 ingredients is they play better with their friends than they do alone. And the scientific word for that is synergy. So the nutrients in them working together create synergy in our body. And for instance, one of the things in an apple tells it how to get into the cell wall so that it can be used and make you healthier. And another thing in an apple tells it how to get out. So once you've used as much as your body needs, now it knows how to excrete it. So there's so many just beautiful things inside there, and our bodies are very wise. They are created to heal themselves when they're given the proper food, which is this whole food nutrition. We are designed to thrive on plant foods. But the truth is that Americans just don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. I've heard scary statistics out there, and I don't have them in front of me, but I know that Americans eat just a really small amount every day. So scientists thought, well, we'll take some of those things out, we'll isolate them, and we'll put them in a multivitamin, and maybe that'll be the answer for our country. And so they put a few of those things in a multivitamin. People started taking them. It's $1 billion industry, but the studies are now showing not only will they not help, but in some cases, they've been shown to harm you. So multivitamins are just not the answer because our bodies don't know what to do with them. They sometimes detect it as something foreign because they're not in that whole food form like the apple, playing with all of their friends. We don't want to take the vitamin C out because it's not going to be happy without its 9,999 other friends. Okay, so we're going to tell you about Juice Plus, but as you're looking at this beautiful picture of all of the fruits and vegetables that are in Juice Plus, I want you to picture a beautiful fruit salad to help us to understand synergy. I just read an article that came out this month that said that you don't just get a wider variety of nutrients by eating more fruits or vegetables, but they actually work together to produce even more powerful health benefits that any single fruit alone could do. So in other words, is it healthier to eat 2 apples in a day, or is it healthier to eat an apple and an orange? It's more than 2 times as healthy to eat an apple and an orange, because when you eat 2 different kinds of produce together, all of the beautiful nutrients in them work together in synergy to do something just really beautiful in your body. So the picture of a fruit salad, that's going to be healthier than, eating a great big bowl of strawberries. And I just think that's so interesting. So think of it like compounding interest, but with fruit. That's what synergy is. Okay, so now we're going to tell you about Juice Plus. Here are the 30 fruits and vegetables that are in the Juice Plus capsules. There are fruit capsules and veggie capsules and berry capsules. You see those there on the screen with the beautiful ingredients. So when you take those, you're getting 30 whole foods in your body every day. And they also come in a gummy version for kids. And so notice some of the things here. First of all, we have a food label. It's actually food in a capsule. I like to think about it as my salad bar in a capsule. And we know that apple's got 10,000 ingredients. And look at all of those, all of the things that we're getting from all this produce. It's all vine-ripened produce. It's non-GMO, so you can feel safe about the fact that we do not use genetically modified ingredients. It's dairy-free and gluten-free, and we have NSF certification, and that's a third-party organization that comes in and tests products to make sure that, number one, they have in them what they say they do, and number two, nothing else is added in. So this is the certification that pro athletes and Olympic athletes have to have in order to take a supplement. So that's really cool. Olympic athletes like Shannon Miller, the most decorated female gymnast in the United States, is a Juice Plus enthusiast and has in fact been taking it since she was a child. So we can feel safe knowing that. And that also there are over 30 published clinical studies showing that Juice Plus gets in the body, number one, and then number two, once it gets in there, it does some really, really beautiful things. Now, can you imagine how fantastic you would feel if you ate 30 fruits and vegetables every single day, 365 days of the year? You'd feel pretty fantastic, I can tell you that. So I want to talk a little bit more about the research that has been done on Juice Plus. This is something that sets our company apart from any other company that's putting out a product like this. And that is that we have, I think we're up to 35 published studies now showing us the promises of Juice Plus. So those things that you see there, we can tell you, we can promise that those things will happen in your body because it's backed up by this amazing gold standard, peer-reviewed, placebo-controlled research, and then it's been published in the most just beautiful premier journals in our country. So look at some of the things there that Juice Plus has been shown to do. It contributes to cardiovascular wellness, and we sure want that because heart disease is huge in our country, and supports a healthy inflammatory response. I really think that that's one of the reasons why I couldn't lose weight before Juice Plus, is that my body was just filled with toxins and filled with inflammation. And so the doctors are telling us that all disease starts with inflammation somewhere in the body. So knowing that Juice Plus supports a healthy inflammatory response, this is really a big deal. And I know it's been a big deal for my body. It supports quality of life in ovarian cancer survivors. So how fantastic is that? MD Anderson Cancer Center in Texas did a study using Juice Plus products. So we can know that it's safe to use in any of our bodies, and also in the bodies of people who we love who might be struggling with cancer. Reduced insulin resistance in overweight boys. That's a very cool study. So we know that Juice Plus reduces insulin resistance. If you have any diabetes in your family, you can know that that's a really big deal. And supports lung health in smokers. That study was done on heavy smokers who continued to smoke during the study, and they found that their airways were actually improved while they were taking Juice Plus and continuing to smoke. So how fantastic is that? So think about the implications for that in asthma as well, because I know that asthma symptoms in our house have been greatly decreased. Juice Plus supports healthy skin and gums. Okay, here's the cute factors. The cute factor, ladies, supports healthy skin. Okay, we're gonna look prettier when we take Juice Plus. And I don't know if you noticed that in my before and after picture, but my skin looks dramatically different. And I've had people stop me at church and say, "What are you doing to your skin?" when all I had changed was Juice Plus. So that's really exciting. Juice Plus supports immune health. So no wonder I have less colds and flus. And no wonder that people with autoimmune disorders are telling us that when they take Juice Plus, that their flare-ups are not as severe, and then they're having longer periods of time between them. So it balances your immune system and is fantastic. It helps to protect your DNA and in fact repair it, reduces oxidative stress, and is absorbed by the body. Real cute what's on the bottle if it doesn't actually get into your body, but it does. And a fantastic thing is that kids eat for free. How about that? When an adult takes Juice Plus, they can sponsor a child to get Juice Plus for free between the ages of 4 and full-time college student. If you're interested in that, the person who invited you can tell you more. And I want you to notice the results of families who take Juice Plus together. One of the things that I think is so noteworthy about this is that so many of these result in more money in our pocket. So if our family's taking less over-the-counter and prescription drugs, and the kids are missing less school, which means mom and dad are missing less work, and you're going to the doctor less, this is more money in our pockets. Pretty great, huh? I like that. And maybe that's why our family finds that we don't really miss the money that we spend on Juice Plus, because we're not spending it in these other areas. And we found it's more important with our health to pay now than to pay later in the form of really expensive and catastrophic doctor bills at times. So this is just really exciting. And 96% of the families who took Juice Plus said they reaped some kind of positive benefit from taking it. Okay, so you know a little bit about what Juice Plus is. We've got 30 fruits and vegetables in either a capsule or gummy form, and you've seen the list of the beautiful ingredients. We also have a healthy fast food line, which is shakes and bars. The shakes are chocolate and vanilla, and the bars are dark chocolate with fig and tart cherry with honey. and I like to call those my healthy fast food. So if you're looking for the very best experience, on the bottom there you see the transformation, which is those are the products that I use. I take the fruit and veggie and berry capsules every single day, and I have 1 or 2 shakes every day, and it just makes me feel so good. You'll notice on the right we also have a tower garden. We are inspiring healthy living around the world, and we want to get fruits and veggies in you however we can. I have 2 of those towers on my deck, and they're just beautiful. So I can grow my own produce on my deck in a space that's about maybe 3 to 4 feet square. It all goes up, not out. There's no dirt, no weeding, and it waters itself. I like to call it gardening for dummies, because like anybody could do this, seriously. And it uses 90% less water and 90% less space than you would need if you were doing conventional gardening. And the produce is phenomenal. So if you would like more information on Juice Plus, we would invite you to contact the person who invited you to this event tonight. And I just wanted to say in closing that I took care of my parents when they were both dying, my dad from diabetes and my mom from Alzheimer's. That started in 2010, and I'd been on Juice Plus for 4 years. And the thing is, you never know when you're going to need that nutrition on board. And like we said before, sometimes when you're going through something, the very last thing we're inclined to do is take care of ourselves. Especially as women, we take care of everybody else first. And I have found that Juice Plus is the most beautiful kind of self-care that I can do for myself. So I'm going to take this off now, stop the screen share so that you can ask questions. All right, so if anybody has questions for Uma or for me, you can feel free to ask those right now. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions out there, guys? Okay, maybe not. Okay, but if you want to get more information, like we said, contact the person who invited you, and I'm sure they'll be happy to answer more of your questions and get you started on Juice Plus. Uma, thank you so much for your beautiful presentation tonight. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I learned so much from you, as I always do. You are such a blessing. So
thank you, Melanie. It was such fun collaborating with you on this, and I hope this is just the beginning of something that we'll do more regularly. It was fun to put all this information together and learn from each other and support each other. So thank you for your encouragement, all your Vox messages and the images and everything. You were just such a blessing in putting this together.
Oh, you're a blessing as well. Thanks, everybody.